if you open a history book in any middle school classroom in America, you're going to find a very familiar pattern. Throughout history, societies have repeatedly decided that certain groups of people were exceptions to the promise of human dignity. When we look back on those injustices, it seems almost impossible to understand how people could have accepted such profound disregard for human life. Yet, history shows that these tragedies, they rarely begin with hatred alone. They begin with a more subtle idea that some human beings somehow fall outside the circle of protection owed to everyone else. Mr. President, every generation faces its own unique question about how human dignity, which brings me to a question, and I would like my colleagues, the American people, and especially the next generation of leaders, some in this room today, the question is, who deserves human dignity? So in the land of freedom and opportunity, we're constantly talking about equality, inclusion, and defending the most vulnerable. And we should ask those questions. I mean, those are fundamentally American values. But those ideas, they only mean something if they're applied consistently. Mr. President, for 250 years, Americans have prided ourselves on being the voice of the voiceless. But for some reason, far too many fall silent when the dignity of the smallest and the most vulnerable members of our human race are questioned. And that's the unborn. But human dignity, it's not conditional. It does not depend on age or size or ability or circumstance. Human dignity, it's inherent. It can't be earned, can't be granted, can't be taken away. And the most fundamental dignity that we all possess is the right to life. So if we aspire to be a nation that defends the equal dignity of every person, then our actions, both at home and abroad, must reflect the values that we profess. The United States cannot credibly champion human rights while pursuing policies that deny the unborn the most basic right of all, and that is the right to life. So as we approach the 4th anniversary of the ruling in DOBBS, there's more that we must do to defend the right to life. So I applaud the Trump administration for uncovering loopholes that previous administrations exploited to use U.S. foreign aid programs to fund and promote abortion abroad. So one of the greatest measures of American leadership, it's not merely the power that we profess, but it's the principles that we project. And it's the values we champion abroad that should reflect the values that we cherish here at home. And if human dignity is truly universal, then the foreign aid funded by American taxpayers must be consistent with our nation's most fundamental truth, and that is that every human life possesses inherent dignity, and that the first human right is the right to life. So that's why I've introduced the Protecting Human Flourishing in Foreign Assistance Act, so that we don't repeat history. My bill would codify the Trump administration's efforts to once again put American values first in U.S. foreign assistance programs, preventing any future administration from using such programs as loopholes to deny life to the unborn. So one day history, it will render its verdict on whether we choose to defend human dignity. And it's my hope that future generations find that we remain faithful to America's first principles, that we are all created equal.